Cheers to you, Internet. Welcome to Video Game Talk, where we have a few things to discuss today. As usual, video game news is emergent, slow, and dare I say, sparse in the lead up to E3, which is very typical for the year. But we got a few things to talk about today. Ready Player One, kind of getting its preliminary reviews out. Far Cry 5 getting its preliminary reviews out. We've got some subsequent kind of follow-up news. I have a few things I want to say subsequently on Sea of Thieves. The big one, our title choice, is we finally got some gameplay from Jurassic World Evolution.
A lot of gameplay from Jurassic World Evolution. You can pretty much see how the entire game runs now at this point, which is great. That's going to be our first topic today.
For sure, because it's the title topic.
I mean, man, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt, of course. Star Wars.
And I'm wearing a Starcraft shirt, which is the other thing
that's another thing we're talking about today.
Happy 20th birthday!
Yes. So first, let's talk about Jurassic World Evolution.
No, first let's talk about my hair. What? What is this? Why is it like that?
I don't know.
Oh, man, have I looked like this all day?
You sure have.
Oh, God dang it. All right.
Anyways,
This is ridiculous.
Some of you may or may not remember a little game from 2002 called Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, which was another Jurassic Park sim game. This is like that, but it's made by the guys who gave you Planet Coaster, and so it took some of the best ideas from Operation Genesis, like hunting down new fossils to extract the DNA from to make new dinosaurs, with all of the casual, things that make it okay for a casual gamer to just kind of jump right into, building your buildings, having pre-established parks ready to go if you want to just like plop in a park just to experience managing a Jurassic Park, all of those things and more. But man, it's just like, I loved Planet Coaster, by the way, but I also love Jurassic Park, so this just feels like a great marriage between the two ideas, and I can't wait to delete all the fences and have the T-Rexes just kill all my tourists.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so good. Oh yeah, the point I was going to make my shirt is I love Star Wars, but Jurassic Park might be my second favorite franchise after that. I don't know. Especially that first movie. That Jurassic Park probably my favorite movie all time. I don't know. Garrett, what do you think about Evolution so far?
Well, this is kind of a two-part answer because I feel like you can't talk about Evolution without talking about it's kind of its predecessor, softcore, which is Planet Coaster.
Planet Coaster,
yeah, because this is a marriage of two games that I really, really love. One, which is obviously Operation Genesis, which is built on a very dated engine and kind of a shameless ripoff of the Zoo Tycoon sort of metric that was like really, really, really big then. A lot of those Tycoon games were really kicking off. A lot of them were garbage. A handful of them were really, really good. So that was interesting. But certainly being able to play Zoo Tycoon with the dinosaur overhaul skin at the time or the time in history that it was and how old I wasn't ready to care that much about the fact that it was just a kind of a shameless reskin of Zoo Tycoon. I was all about that game. I loved it. It was a ton of fun to play, and it was a ton of fun to build a Jurassic Park. I cared about it way more than I cared about building a zoo, so that's cool. Operation Genesis holds a very fond place in my heart, and I love that I'm going to see a successor to it.
Finally.
Yeah, finally.
15 years later.
Second part, however, and almost more importantly, is Planet Coaster. Because I would wager a lot of you haven't played Planet Coaster. I would just go ahead and say that's an extremely fair bet, because Planet Coaster is largely hailed as perhaps the single best theme park tycoon game ever, despite relatively modest sales. It was a successful game, but it wasn't a wild commercial success like, for instance, Roller Coaster Tycoon that inspired it. So, oh, good. Crazy Hannah knows about Planet Coaster. That's good. Planet Coaster is phenomenal, especially down to the idea that you can literally pull up an editor and edit down the lettering, the texture, the color, the signs, what color and what your trash cans look like. You can go to an absolute microcosm of detail and just build up from there. In fact, I think the only reason I really haven't played more of the game is because it's almost paralyzing to me as such a type A person how much I can control. I just don't build out a functional park. I build out the greatest entrance ever conceived by mankind, and then I go from there. But that's a real testament to the game engine, and I have literally all the faith in the world for the folks over at Frontier, because they've really got this figured out. So that's good. I think you do remember y'all playing Planet Coaster, says AK, because I remember that stream because there were 2 people walking that stream, and that was Cosmic Sprinkles and AK. So that's a pretty good one. Yeah, I had a ton of fun playing, even though it was actually wildly considering my least successful stream on Complaint Department. But that's okay.
No,
that's okay.
I think we had a couple of Planet Coaster streams on the Richalverse channel too.
You may have, yeah.
I was playing it a lot for a minute there when it first came out. It was a lot of fun, but man, you can bet your ass that we'll be playing a lot of Jurassic World Evolution when it comes out.
Jeez, guys, it's really promising.
Streaming on the Video Game Network.
The Video Game Network.
The Video Game Network.
New project. Ooh, yes, here we are on the new pretty channel. Hello.
Maybe you should make Garrett Land?
Maybe we should make Garrett Land? Well, here's the thing. Garrett is a far less interesting person than some of the characters he plays. I would like to make like Wasteland Garrett Land. Like we can make our little Wasteland tribe is called Operation Desert Storm. And we all have like food pun names. I would love to make like Desert Storm Land. I would love to make a stupid Mario Brothers theme park or something like that where everybody's running around, and I would just make it like Rathnar's half of the park and then the whole rest of the series, because even though, I would just shamelessly promote my own character. Whatever. The point is not what I would do. The point is what's possible. And a tremendous amount has proven possible in these Frontier games. If you are at all interested in this project, I recommend you go check out the exclusive gameplay footage. Did IGN get that exclusive?
Yes, that was an IGN exclusive.
Okay.
They got to play the first 30 minutes of the game. And yeah, you can definitely see if you go to their website, it looks amazing. It is definitely going to be the next creation game, probably the only creation game we'll play next.
Yeah.
Because they don't do a whole lot of them anymore.
They don't.
But yeah, it's going to be a fun, and like I'm saying, I just my favorite part is making a successful park and then watching it all crumble and be destroyed, letting all the raptors loose and just watching everybody go.
I think if you go and watch the video, the first thing that any person who's played Planet Coaster is going to think is, this looks a lot like Planet Coaster. Yeah. This looks a tremendous amount like Planet Coaster. And I think in this case, and or a lot of other circumstances, wake up! I think in a lot of other circumstances, that would be potentially a con, that it really bears a lot of, like similarities to its derivation. But in this case, we're going to go and say that's a fat plus. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot of what I like, and I'm liking a lot of what I see. So, so far, feeling real good about Jurassic World Evolution. Also, if you watch the footage, it has a foreword by Jeff Goldblum, or Jeff Goldblum.
It is Goldblum.
It is Goldblum.
He gives the game 10 Goldblums out of a possible 10.
Yeah, 10 Goldblums out of 10, he says, which is the maximum number of Goldblums that he can give out, it turns out. The game is largely voiced by him in character as
Dr. Ian Malcolm.
As Ian Malcolm, yeah.
The greatest fictional character ever written by man.
Certainly up there. Certainly one of the best.
Especially reading Crichton's books, because that's where it all started for me, was the original book, which is fantastic. Probably, it's my #1 book of all time. But
also, what a casting choice.
Oh, yeah.
Because that they were able to get Goldblum for Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum is Ian Malcolm. There's no separating his character from the actor.
We all experienced the triumph that was, or that is, I should say, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah.
Like that casting choice, like Made in Heaven and whatnot. And so old and so, ancient history is the equally appropriate casting choice of Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, and I'm glad to also see him come back in the new Jurassic World movie, too. Even if it is, I think it's just going to be that courtroom scene that we've seen in the trailer.
It's fine. I love the idea that, I also love the idea that Ian Malcolm is just a character that's experiencing far more, like, reprisal than, like, Alan Grant.
No, screw Alan Grant.
Or anyone else. Ian Malcolm stole the show.
No, it's just like, I think Alan Grant was a fun character in that first movie, but then especially when they try to drag him into the third one, it's like, no, we didn't watch it for him.
No, this isn't about him. This is about dinosaurs and Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, especially, the book, by the way, if you've never read Jurassic Park, it's all from Ian Malcolm's point of view. Right. He is the central character.
Correct.
Chaos theory is the theme. Anyways, yeah. So that's this isn't movie hour or
Right.
book hour. This is video
We
game
can't bring
talk.
it full circle by saying that, like, if Dinosaurs and Jeff Goldblum is what you're hoping to get out of the Jurassic Park experience, it's looking to be that in Jurassic World Evolution.
Absolutely.
So there you go. I guess we'll move on
All right.
to our next topic. What do you want to talk about next?
So we are currently celebrating 20 years of Starcraft.
Woo!
20 years ago.
Halfway obscured by the green screen, but get it!
20 years ago, we were graced with a fantastic RTS by the name of Starcraft, and the next year by the expansion Starcraft Brood War. This is, in
Maybe my
opinion,
favorite game of all time.
Yeah, definitely my favorite RTS, at least, of all time.
Right. Command and Conquer's up there. It's
I was going to say, I was like, heavy on that Tiberian Sun, and then StarCraft came out, and then I never touched Tiberian Sun again.
Right.
Or any Command and Conquer for that matter. I was all on the Blizzard hype train from there out. You know?
Right. It was plainly evident that StarCraft was a better game to me, but Tiberian Sun had so much style and pizzazz and unique Command and Conquer style.
Also, those cutscenes with James Earl Jones in Tiberian Sun
right?
were really cool.
Right? He was in that.
But StarCraft, man, I cannot say enough good things about StarCraft. I really feel like it changed the game in so many ways. And it's just
the video game world was forever changed by Brood War.
Yeah.
Especially the competitive video game world. I would postulate the perhaps unpopular or controversial opinion that esports as we know them today would not exist without StarCraft.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
StarCraft, a fantastic competition, which gave rise to the tournaments and just everything, or even just screwing around for 5 hours doing sunken defense.
Yeah.
Which is what I did a lot. It was a lot of fun. But a lot of people don't even give credit to the story of StarCraft, which I also feel is compelling. And it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if they're looking to do a video game movie, what about the tragedy that is Raynor and Kerrigan, But, like, nobody ever talks about the story
The
from
greatest
StarCraft.
toxic relationship in video game history. And somehow the most relatable, to cite one of them being an alien surrogate and the other one being a cowboy. Change nothing except
Raynor
for the
here.
future.
Yeah. But, man, it was great.
It's not complex. It's just good.
Yeah, but I remember it didn't, because when I played it as a kid, I always remember loving that story. It didn't become really apparent to me that most people didn't give a shit about the story until StarCraft 2 came out, and they were like, oh yeah, get online, you get on. I'm like, yeah, I'm just finishing up the story mode. First they're like, you play story mode? You some kind of loser? It's like, no. Dude, I love the story of StarCraft.
Forget that. Anybody who is not down on story mode for StarCraft is not a StarCraft fan.
Yeah.
And everybody out there who likes to pretend that they're super Gosu and play on the Korean servers and stuff like that, and they don't give a shit about the story mode, those people can leave. All right? I don't want them. I don't want them in my fandom. All right? I don't need them. I don't need that negative energy. I don't need that anything. If you can't play through the story mode in an RTS game, which is increasingly more coveted in a day where we don't get story modes in anything,
yeah.
then you get out of my circle. Get out of my camp. You're not allowed.
Yeah, so, they've, been releasing a lot of things that are coming out of the Blizzard Vault. Like, there's a bunch, if you check out, the 20th anniversary celebration, which is being heavily hosted by IGN, of course, because they get everything.
They do.
You can see a lot of the original 90s, concept art for, Kerrigan and a lot of the aliens. And we were looking at, man, this is... That's whatchamacallit.
Oh, Zergling!
Yeah, this will just look at the fucking Zergling. And, just like a lot of really cool concept art. That,
go check it out, guys. Yeah.
Blizzard put a lot of work into making the original StarCraft.
I mean, Blizzard puts a lot of work into everything that they do.
Of course,
but StarCraft was like a giant breakout moment for them. And it's really worth celebrating because... obviously, nowadays, as gamers, as kind of participants in this culture, we have the benefit of being extremely mainstream. There's $100,000 tournaments out there for games or whatnot. There's countries in the world, predominantly South Korea. I almost said North Korea, and that would have been the most wrong. Predominantly South Korea that has like video games as a central part of their culture. It's not fringe anymore. Games are super mainstream, and a huge part of that was their rise in sort of the competitive headspace. The idea that, games as a sport, competitive games as a sport and whatnot. And Brood War put that on the map. That's Brood War's doing. I mean, obviously, League of Legends has a huge role in that story as well. So does Dota. Dota has a tremendous role in that story as well, which also has a lot to do with Blizzard because it was Warcraft 3 mod. Warcraft 3 has a lot to do with that story, but none can say they originated that in the way that like really Starcraft Brood War specifically has. So this is not just a celebration of 20 years of Starcraft as much as that is a beautiful series that is worth celebrating and whatnot. This is 20 years of, you know, the origin of esports. This is 20 years of the progression to of gaming to mainstream culture. This is 20 years of a really big moment in gaming, cinematic, and cultural exchange and intermuddling. So it's a cool moment, and it's a cool moment as a gamer to participate in just the scale of things and how they are now.
Yeah, and you can get the remastered version of the original StarCraft now, which, you know, looks beautiful.
For like $15.
Yeah, it's a really
so
great
reasonable.
deal. And yeah, everything's been retextured. It looks great.
4K, the whole thing, 4K.
Yeah, just go ahead and play it right now, because nothing sucks more than when you're playing Cards Against Humanity with a huge group of people, and the card comes up, you must construct additional pylons, and half of the group doesn't know what it is. What's that?
What's a pylon?
And I'm just like, you get the fuck out of my house
fucking
right
leave.
now. That's it. That is the worst.
We try to limit the number of F-bombs per episode, but that one was worth it. All right? There we go. Fucking no regrets. Oh,
all right.
boy.
So go play it. Anyways,
Go check it out. Even if you're, even if you're not interested in the hyper complex, ultra twitchy, sort of like a culture of playing Brood War, go watch the tournaments. Go check out a Day 9 stream or like one of the old Fun Day Mondays. There's so much rich and powerful StarCraft media out there that, at the very least, if you haven't watched all the cinematics, you're doing yourself a tremendous disservice.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of cinematics, Ready Player One has hit cinemas, or it's hitting cinemas tonight, or if you're on the East, you've got it already, I think. So it's in cinemas, and it's again, it's one of those things like Wreck-It Ralph, where it's not really a movie based on a specific video game, but it's a movie that has a lot of references
to a tremendous amount of video game characters.
Ton of like not just video games too, but a lot of movies as well. You see King Kong and the DeLorean in there.
Yeah, Tracer from Overwatch is in there.
And you got Tracer. You've got, I think I saw Master Chief in one of the trailers.
Master Chief is for sure in it.
Tons and tons and tons of references.
Like Dig Dug is in it.
So. A lot of people were worried that this was going to end up being something like Pixels, where it's just a reference fest and then no substance. So here's the consensus around the web about Ready Player One, and a lot of people, because it's hard not to, a lot of people are, because it is a Steven Spielberg film. This is the guy that directed Jurassic Park and E.T. and Close Encounters, etc. Jaws. This is essentially the man that created the summer blockbuster. So his movies are always going to be judged on a little higher of a scale than most movies.
Right.
So it's getting, I would say it's probably getting average scores. Like IGN gave it a 7.5, which is good, but not, great. It's kind of an average score. But they are rating it according to Spielberg. I would say if anybody else was directing this movie, it would have gotten an 8.5 or higher. But because it's Steven Spielberg, it got a 7.5. And the reasoning is around the idea that it's a great movie. It has tons of great action. It's fast paced. It's thrilling even. It's, got everything you'd want in a big summer blockbuster, but it doesn't have any emotional weight. Like usually in Spielberg films, like you really connect to the characters, like Elliot in E.T. You really feel for the boy, especially when he loses the alien and he thinks, E.T.'s going to be taken away from the government. You've been experiencing this story with that boy, and so you have an emotional connection to those characters, and there is an emotional weight there, and you can feel that in movies like E.T., Jurassic Park, and especially even Saving Private Ryan, where it's like by the end of that movie, you really feel like you're part of that platoon, I guess there's really none of that in Ready Player One. It's just kind of an action-packed ride, which I think is fine. And so I would think that if that's the only reason that it got so low, I would say that that's a little unfair. And I bet I would love this movie. So I don't know.
Yeah, every single piece of critical media I have seen has really only convinced me that I'm going to really enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to checking out Ready Player One, and I hope we get to watch it together.
Yeah. It's a blast. It's going to be a lot of fun. But it's like, oh, come on. Get over yourself.
So the consensus is, I guess, based on our research, that if you compare it if you compare it to Steven Spielberg specifically, and his repertoire and his history as a filmmaker, then it's going to hold up to those movies. This is about a 7. However, if you compare it to kind of the current state of cinema and like what's available right now, you're gonna get an 8.5, 9-ish. You know, you're gonna get a much higher score.
Like, I bet you my prediction is that Rampage will probably get like an 8.0 or an 8.5, but I'll probably enjoy Ready Player One more.
I can't imagine Rampage is a better movie. I will go see Rampage. I'm not above that because I think Rampage is very unabashedly itself. I think Rampage knows that it is, and it's just trying to be that. And I'm fine with media that's like that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with media that is just very upfront about what it is, even if it's cheeseball. And Dwayne The Rock Johnson has been really on a roll with these sort of like very niche movie, you know, this very specific type of movie recently. I think Rampage will be good. I can't imagine that Ready Player One is going to be worse than Rampage, though. I think Rampage is going to be good, and I think Ready Player One is going to be better.
Man, since the year began, I can't remember. Did Jumanji come out this year? The new one? I believe
you're the movie guy. I don't know.
I think it came out in January. You know, tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe Jumanji came out this year. If I'm wrong, then
I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to let the comments do it.
But I'll just say this: if it did come out this year, that means Jumanji and Ready Player One and Rampage and Wreck-It Ralph. Is Wreck-It Ralph 2 this year also?
Yeah.
Then that means at least and Tomb Raider. This is like a big year for video game movies.
There is more than average, certainly. You know, and whether or not you count Wreck-It Ralph as a video game movie, which I sort of do, and whether or not you count Ready Player One as a video game movie, which I also sort of do.
Everyone's like, forget. Nah. It was great, though. I loved the new Jumanji, by the way.
Jumanji came out in December of last year.
Oh, but it's still good. good. And
Jumanji gets a thumbs up from us. Did we mention that?
Really surprisingly good.
We liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, it's just this year is I mean, Tomb Raider was kind of a disappointment, but you know, it's still a good year for the volume of video game content. It just shows the industry is definitely still interested in, you know,
there's a lot of money and a lot of talent out there that's circulating and sort of cracking the code of like what's a good video game movie.
Yeah.
And as a result, I'm encouraged by that. Is it the cash cow right now? Sure, that's fine, but whatever. People are out there for better or for worse, or for good intentions or bad intentions, trying to figure out what a good video game movie looks like. And you know what? I'm fine with that. I don't have to read too much farther into that. Crazy Hannah is asking about the Tomb Raider movie and did it have its good moments. I have not seen it. Did you see it? No.
We're only reflecting. I would have seen it like
we read a lot. We read a lot about it, but we have yet to actually see it.
I was heavily discouraged by the bad reviews, so I don't know if it has any good moments. I've heard that it has some okay moments.
Sometimes we research something so much for a show that we like feel like we watched it. I mean, it's like, all right.
I have seen a lot of scenes like from the movie, and I feel like I pretty much get it.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, like, if you love Tomb Raider and you're okay with just kind of a, you know, formulaic action flick and you're not looking for anything too highbrow, then sweet, go see it. It's, you know, it has a great cast and, you know, the good set pieces, and from a movie production standpoint, it's okay. But if you're looking for the next big video game movie or, like, the breakout of some sort of unique storytelling motif, don't go see it. It's exceptionally normal. And that's almost, for many people, that's a greater sin than being bad. I think it was, who's the main guy in Top Gear?
I can't remember.
Jeremy...
Oh, Jeremy Renner? No, not Jeremy Renner.
That's Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's Jeremy Renner, who was great in Arrival, too, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. Arrival's a phenomenal movie. Oh, man, is Arrival a phenomenal movie.
Also,
but anyway, yeah, in Top Gear, they have this motif that's like, it's worse to be bland than it is to be bad. Mm-hmm. And I've always identified with that tremendously. Tomb Raider is unfortunately more in the bland category than it is in the bad category.
Top Gear. Are you possibly thinking of Top Gun?
No, I'm thinking of Top Gear.
You're thinking of Top Gear. Okay. I don't know where my brain is right now. I've lost.
It's fine.
I'm
literally talking about the British car show.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not talking about any sort of movie or whatnot. They just say this thing. I used to watch a lot of Top Gear.
Okay.
Many years ago, and they would say that all the time. Like, it's worse to be bland than it is to be bad. And I was always like, I think that's right.
Ooh, Scott, let me know. I've been very excited about season 2. Let me know, when is season 2 of Castlevania coming out, because I need to watch it.
Yeah, we are extremely excited for season 2. We think that season 1 was short.
Just 4 episodes.
Extremely concise. And that was really our main criticism of it because we think, I mean, personally, I think Castlevania Season 1 was everything I was hoping for.
And I think we've said this before, that's where I really like video games to go, especially specific video game stories like that. The Castlevania anime is basically Castlevania 3.
Right.
And those first 4 episodes was just the very beginning of the story.
It was so good.
But because they just got to Alucard and then they stopped it right there. But there's so much more.
Like, I can feel my heart rate increasing just thinking about, like, all the incredible crap that happened in that series.
I mean, I wish that, I think that they were just kind of testing the waters with that, and I think that it was pretty successful. Yeah. So I really hope Season 2 is like 10 episodes at least.
Animation is extremely expensive.
Please cover the rest of Castlevania 3 so we can just move on to Symphony of the Night, please. That's where I live, Symphony of the Night. Yeah. De Niro face, hey, you like Castlevania? No, that's good. That's good. Far Cry 5 is out.
Far Cry 5 is out, ladies and gentlemen. It is out. So, what to say about Far Cry 5? All right, I did most of the research on Far Cry 5, so I'll just go ahead and spew it out, and you guys can make of it what you will. Far Cry 5. Shout out in chat if you've played the Far Cry series, if you feel strongly about it. Please let me know, because and also let me know if you're playing Far Cry 5. I want to know, you know, and for our retroactive audience, tell me in the comments. But Far Cry 5, based on all that I have seen, what gameplay I have witnessed, my honest assessment of it is Far Cry 5 is...
I don't know what's going on in the other room.
The wives are making a lot of noise. Anyway, Far Cry 5 is appears very much to be a good game, and it looks like it improves on a lot of the sort of metrics that Far Cry had in the past. A lot of praise for excellent gunplay, a lot of praise for excellent action sequences, a lot of praise for a beautiful open world and excellent graphics, you know, and just, you know, an excellent modernization of the engine.
Yeah, Far Cry has always been a series that takes like jungle and forest aesthetics to the next level with every game. I think the game I've enjoyed the most for sure was Far Cry 3, and then of course Blood Dragon on top of that.
Blood Dragon is the best,
which
Far
was
Cry,
a completely different experience. But Far Cry 5, I remember when it was like one of our very first video game talks, of course, when it was still on Rich Alvarez. We were just watched like the 20-minute gameplay of Far Cry 5, and I was very impressed. I thought that it looked, you know, it looks like Far Cry, but a little bit better, you know?
And honestly, that's the game. It's Far Cry, but it's a little bit better.
I don't think it's like really jumping to like revolutionize anything. It's just a slightly better tweaked Far Cry experience.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at, honestly. If you're a fan of the Far Cry series, if you're a fan of the open world shooter, if you're a fan of kind of what Far Cry has been offering in the last few years, which is very much a central story, driven over kind of a long arc that's sort of exasperated and sort of like I guess you could say spaced out by this like go and capture territory by overtaking camps and doing, you know, side quests with a loose crafting system based around, you know, I guess hunting and a lot of that sort of stuff. We've been seeing that sort of game for a while now. And if you're one to get critical on the idea that a game is riding kind of on the laurels of its past self and not really innovating, then you're going to be fairly critical of Far Cry 5, because Far Cry 5 does play it extremely safe in that respect. It's very much just an improvement of the exact Far Cry mechanics that we have seen and the exact Far Cry game that we have seen before. It is just a better version of that. Don't expect much more. Meanwhile, however, is the Far Cry formula a good game?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Love Far Cry.
I think it's a very compelling action game, and you know, if you're looking for revolutionary, if you're looking for, you know, something new and something crazy and something different, then I don't know, maybe be careful about this game. But if you know deep down in your heart that you are an action game fan and you are just looking to shoot some, like, to shoot some stuff and blow some stuff up and, like, dismantle an entire civilization in an open world setting,
then play what? Far Cry 5.
You're
and
great.
Not Metal Gear Survive.
Yeah, don't play Metal... Whatever you do! Far Cry 5 is great! Don't buy Metal Gear Survive!
Don't support that bullshit.
Don't! Give them your money. I think we're all on the same page here. Are we on the same page here?
I was so glad that after we told you not to buy Metal Gear Survive, you listened to us and us alone and didn't buy it. We got you down to 8% sales.
Oh my god.
Is that right, Garrett? Just us.
Yeah, we
just
did that.
The two of us.
Did that with our tiny little bludgeoning, going to be big one day, but not right now YouTube channel.
Yeah, Metal Gear Survive
he said optimistically.
Only sold 8% of what Metal Gear 5 had sold, which is crazy. It really shows people really did pay attention, not to us.
I'm proud of that.
Yeah, people paid attention to, you know, Hideo getting fired from Konami, and that they knew he wasn't involved, and they knew the crazy crap that Konami was trying to do. Everybody knew this, thanks to all of video game journalism.
I have my moments where I'm absolutely, like, just mortified by video game journalism. I have my moments where I'm mortified by video game culture, by gamer culture, by how people act on the internet. I have my moments where I'm just like, what is happening? This is not okay. But this is a moment that is redeeming. How we all collectively got together and shit on Metal Gear Survive. We all did our research, and despite the hype, and despite the great presentation and the visuals and compelling trailers and whatnot, people read about it, people checked it out, and people collectively took a crap on its head. I'm proud of gamers now. I'm happy to be a part of this group in this particular motif. You guys will probably be back to being socially problematic in a bit, but in the meantime, whee!
I think our joke was lost on iJosh. He's like, wait, seriously? Rich and Garrett brought it down? And then he's like, oh, I must have misheard. Crap. It's good. Good time.
Oh, no.
I wish we had that kind of influence.
We were being facetious. That being said, we didn't support the game to begin with, and then it failed, so we're like, yeah, high five! Woo! Brought that shit down! You know, but no.
Could you imagine if we did have that kind of influence where we could literally...
Like Markiplier, like PewDiePie level influence, where we're just like, hey guys, guess what? This game's terrible. And all of a sudden, like, Garrett and Rich say the game's terrible. Plummet sale. Company stock down 8 points. Like,
that'd be a great point for us, because that means that we could literally sell out, accept money from these companies, and then say,
oh my god, we could sell out so hard.
Sell out.
But hey,
with me tonight, sell out.
In the meantime, we're a small-time YouTube channel. No one's paying us, so you know we're honest.
No, don't be embarrassed, iJosh. That was great.
No. Yeah, you're actually right on the money, and we appreciate the sentiment. If anything, I'm extremely flattered that you hold us in high enough regard to even begin to accept the fact that we might have had anything to do with the fall of Metal Gear Survive. No, but thank you. In reality, we just called it based on, you know, any amount of research, any amount.
And Scott says he's boycotting Konami from now on, but he wouldn't if they released a new Castlevania game.
He would think about it. Oh man, if they released a new Castlevania game, Scott would start sweating.
It would have to be a good Castlevania game, which I don't see happening from them anytime. I just wish the IP of Castlevania would get both Metal Gear and Konami. Or Konami does not want to make Castlevania or Metal Gear anymore. That's fine.
Did you see
sell the IP.
Did
what?
You see EDFG's comment?
Oh yeah.
I like it when you show up to streams, man. Keep showing up. He doesn't take crap from anybody.
Hockey Song says he's never bought any Konami games.
Interesting. There's some good ones.
You've never besides Metal Gear and Castlevania, that means you've never played like Dance Dance. Is it Dance Dance Revolution?
Is that a Konami game?
That is a Konami game, yeah.
Weird.
Dance Dance Revolution, yeah. And like a lot of those like rhythm games were all Konami, yeah.
Oh, DeKalen pointing out Contra and Gladius too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well.
Oh, I guess he never played any of them, yeah.
Solid. Okay. Well, if you want to explore a rich history of a company gone sour, go for it. Because they had some beautiful golden days, you know, back in the early, you know, kind of the golden era of gaming. And now, not so much. Or at least with Metal Gear Survive is certainly an extremely low point.
Dude, that's what we should do. We should make a really like well-produced 30-minute documentary on Konami and like the history and like the ups and downs and then the downs.
I want to get testimonials from chat though. I need to we'll have to like Google Hangouts or like Discord chat them and be like, all right, Scott or EDMG, like tell me in 30 seconds, like your feelings on Konami and whatnot. We'll just feature them randomly as like shadowy figures.
Hockey Song. I never played a Konami game.
Yeah, Hockey Song's like.
I don't know.
Name some Konami games. This, and this. Nope. Just cut to the next scene.
There has to. Konami has made like 35% of the world's video games over the last 30 years. I bet you we can find a game that they've made that you've played, Hockey Song. There's gotta be.
Maybe, yeah. Or to Hockey Song's point, like maybe he's just like next level and he's been boycotting them in anticipation of Metal Gear Survive. He's been so on top of things that he knew something was going to go wrong and he's just been preemptively boycotting. To which I salute you, sir.
I mean,
redemptively, sir.
You know, like just like deep cuts, like Zone of the Enders. You know, like there's just every minute I think of more and more.
Zone
Konami
of the
games.
Enders is one of my favorite weeby fanboy wet dreams.
I think it was that
so good.
The mid '90s to the mid 2000s was Konami's like golden period where a lot of that great stuff was coming out. And sadly, we'll never see it again because just like Metal Gear, Zone of the Enders was produced by Hideo Kojima as well.
Oh, Zone of the Enders was phenomenal.
So yeah, I feel like they're done. Yu-Gi-Oh is made by Konami. That's another thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about Konami anymore.
I know. All right, guys, we're winding up for the question segment, so start asking your questions. So we'll get to them in a few minutes.
Thinking of your questions.
It's probably going to be a quicker segment for questions tonight because we need to go.
I can't go that way.
We need to go start filming episode 3 of No Pain, No Game.
No, yeah, that's actually what I want to talk about while you guys think your questions.
I set you up there, buddy.
No Pain, No Game. You know, we've been talking about this little hot sauce show we've been working on for the last couple of weeks. Well, I don't know if we said it yet, but the name of the show is No Pain, No Game.
No Pain, No Game.
Game. It's a pun on No Pain, No Game.
Yeah. And the first episode is pretty great. It's, you know, obviously an experimental episode. We're, like, filling out what to do, salvaged primarily by Jax, who was actually the star of the show, episode 1. Episode 2 is pretty phenomenal, and we're about to film episode 3.
Yeah, as soon as we're done here, we're filming episode 3.
We literally just kick into it.
Episode
I have
1,
hot sauce on my hands right now, but I know because I almost touched my eye a second ago.
Episode 1 is ready to go. You'll be getting it Saturday morning, so set your alarm clocks for 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which, if you live on the East Coast, will
2 p.m.
be 2 p.m. I was like, it's 2 or 3 hours? 3 hours.
It's for 3 hours, man.
If you live in New York,
in this nation.
If you live in New York, it'll be 2 p.m. But hey, for everyone else who was sensible enough to live in California, 11 a.m.
Not our fan base, man. Not predominantly our fan base. Mostly Midwest, Eastern United States, or similarly situated in Canada, with a few stragglers in Australia and Eastern Europe.
Okay, but to be fair, if I was living on the East Coast and I was moving to the West Coast for the first time, I would probably either move to Nevada or Oregon where you don't have to pay income tax. California sucks for taxes. That is one
of the worst.
That is definitely the downfall.
There's a lot going on here. But there's also a lot of tax here.
Yeah. And it may not be worth it unless you actually want like a specific job in LA or something in SAC. But hey, fun facts about geography, which we're not going to talk about today. Anyways, yeah, so No Pain, No Game coming this Saturday. It's a great video. It's going to be a great series, and I can't wait for y'all to see it.
Do you like Let's Plays? Do you like hot sauce pain videos? Well, guess what? We put them together and packed them up into a little meatball and fried it over.
It's really cool for you. It's definitely, it's like you get the best of both worlds with your hot sauce challenge and your Let's Play, and I think it works very well together.
Yeah, for sure. Caitlin's asking, are we going to continue video game fights on this channel? No! No, I'm kidding. Go for it, whatever you're going to say.
No, that's fine. I was going to say, that's up to you guys. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, video game fights was insanely fun to do, but it was a lot of work, and it just didn't take off. So
the funny thing is,
we can't justify spending time on this anymore. So we had our fun, and we left it to hang. If it gets popular, we think we can return once our fan base is larger, then we might. There is an episode of Video Game Fights that no one's ever seen. The drunk episode, which we never posted because controversies happened and I didn't feel like it anymore, you know. Okay, this is how drunk the drunk episode was. You don't even remember it? Did we film the drunk episode? We did film the drunk episode. I still have the footage. I thought we skipped that.
No, we did it.
Okay, I forgot about an entire episode of video game fights.
So I don't want to get into it heavily, but I'll just say that, like, of course, video game fights was inspired by movie fights on Screen Junkies and movie fights.
Oh, that's right. That controversy.
Yeah.
I thought I said something.
No.
Okay.
No. So, Andy Signor, he's the creator of Screen Junkies. He's the creator of Honest Trailers. He's the creator of movie fights.
Right.
And what happened was he got caught for doing sexual harassment stuff like so many celebrities have been found out to do.
Yeah, he got caught and unfortunately was on the very much reciprocate, very much the, like, it was probably very, very much confirmedly true side of things.
Yeah, so because, like, he was, like, I feel like he was, like, one of the first ones, like, right after Weinstein to be outed for that.
Yeah.
And it was very disheartening for me because I literally started every episode of Video Game Fights with special thanks to Andy Signor, the creator of Movie Fights, for inspiring this show.
Right. So now all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah,
oh, no.
So, I mean, like, it's...
oh, no. Wait a minute.
Yeah, it was very disheartening for me, and so I didn't know what to do. And I was just like, we were already kind of getting burned out of Video Game Fights anyway, so I was like, maybe we should just stop it.
It was a ton of fun, but it was becoming a lot of work for the for the absolutely zero amount of views it was getting. So,
but Screen Junkies started Movie Fights again without Andy Signor, so they're kind of like, no, we can do this show without him. So I haven't watched it since they started again. I don't know if it's any good without him, but I do know that they've started up again, so people are starting to kind of feel like Movie Fights is a thing outside of Andy Signor. So, I don't know. I would say Video Game Fights was very hard to produce and got very little attention. And I didn't feel like... Because when you have to arrange something like that where you need 3 guests every week, you have to organize that. You got to come up with new questions. And the amount of production that went into that.
We would talk all week about our Video Game Fights episodes. We would spend an entire night filming it.
Yeah.
And then
it would get like 400 views, which
300 views. And we're like... So literally, it can only survive so long on the coattails of, like, just the fact that we enjoyed doing it so much.
Yeah. I would say that if things like this show and if, like, No Pain, No Game, if those end up being big successes and the channel starts to get more attention, then maybe that would be a good time to maybe bring that back so that it can then get more attention. But I would say that I wouldn't count on Video Game Fights coming back anytime soon, if at all. I think that's fair to say.
Right, or I should say, maybe the more optimistic way to say that is in the eventuality, if VGN, if this experiment that is this channel really takes off and whatnot and proves to be successful in some way and can catch a lot of momentum, then that would be the window in which you would see Video Game Fights return. Otherwise, just not worth it. Just simply not worth it. There's better uses for our time and, other things for us to be doing that could, make us more successful and get us more exposure. So that's all good. That's all good. If you really want Video Game Fights to come back and whatnot, make your voice heard. Promote the cool thing about Video Game Fights is we have so many episodes already. We have like so many episodes out there already, so there's a ton to just present to people. Where it was like, oh yeah, if you're interested in like really video game talk coming back, you can share one of the many episodes of Video Game Fights that exist. And if they start to pick up and whatnot, and there's like clearly some traction there, then boom, Video Game Fights will be back in a heartbeat. We love doing it. We're looking for any excuse to bring that back. But unfortunately, it was so far in the drain with views that it's like, it's gonna have a lot of way to go before we think about it. So I don't know, but. Yeah, I think that's all I could say about Video Game Fights.
Yeah. So moving on to questions.
It legitimately perplexes me that I forgot about filming a whole episode of it. That being said, I was really drunk, I'm sure, in that episode. Yes.
That was the week after Wasteland weekend. So we were all sunburned in that episode.
Oh no. Okay, I know exactly how drunk I was in that episode.
We were still pretty badly hungover, I think, from Wasteland.
Right.
Wasteland Weekend, by the way, is a fun experience in California in mid-September. Come and experience it with us, or don't.
You can recognize YouTube's Rich Alvarez here, like at least one person did at Wasteland. We're like,
like Crow, yeah. She was like, wait, are you on YouTube?
Yeah, like you.
I was like,
you do YouTube videos, and he was like, oh, no. And I'm in the background like, oh, god dang it, like whatnot, and he's like, yeah, and she's like, stupid boy. And he was like, oh, God. And I'm like, we're in the middle of the desert.
I know, it's
Richard.
literally the last place I ever expected
We're
to
at
get
the
arrested.
ends of the earth, and people are still recognizing you for YouTube. Oh, it was so funny. I loved it so much, despite appearances and me, like, screaming and kicking sand in the background.
Yeah, we like to complain, but then secretly we're like, that was dope.
Yeah. It was a great time. Hockey song with the question, did you know that Legendary Pictures and Warner Brothers brought the rights for the film Mass Effect?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. I'm not shocked, though. It does, and I would say it does not mean that we are ever going to see it.
Yeah, it really doesn't mean anything. A lot of movie studios own rights to, like, I mean, for example...
And they change hands all the time.
Yeah, like Universal owns the rights to Halo. Never seen a Halo movie, and they've owned those film rights for almost 15 years now.
Yeah.
Just because they own the rights to something doesn't mean they're ever going to make it. It's a sad world we live in where IPs get bought, and a lot of times, especially in the case of 20th Century Fox over the last year, they sit on it because they just want to make sure no one else can do it.
Right.
Because it's potential competition.
If you've got an issue with that, then 20th Century Fox should be on your shit list because they do that all the time. They buy up EPs that they think will be successful movies, and they don't produce those movies, and they never intended to. They're just like, if our competitors aren't making these movies, then, that's better for us.
It's like, that's why I'm not upset that Disney, went behind their backs to just buy up the stock for 20th Century Fox, because they had tried so many times to buy the IPs to X-Men and Fantastic Four, and every time they're like Disney was like, we'll give you $6 billion just for Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four is not worth $6 billion.
That's more money than 20 Fantastic Four movies would ever make, but 20th Century Fox was like, no. Because they're a bunch of stupid bitches.
Because a ton of their business model revolves around not necessarily making movies, but denying other studios the capacity to make movies that they think will be successful. So they're just goalies at this point.
I'm actually praying that this deal goes through with that they get it. It hasn't gone through Supreme Court yet, but I'm hoping that 20th Century Fox is absorbed by Disney because that can only mean good things.
I'm actually really...
Stop complaining about Deadpool. It'll still be made.
I get super wishy-washy about Disney buying any other EPs at this point or any other licenses because they're going to get too big, and I don't love Disney's ethics. I don't. Disney has been doing really well recently with the MCU and whatnot, and has been doing passably with Star Wars, but the entertainment industry does not benefit from a monolithic overgod controlling all pieces of constructed media. Then we're entirely depending on them just to do a good job for the sake of doing a good job, as opposed to any sort of level of competition or market diversity or whatnot. Anyway, the economist in me is coming through, and I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, I actually I think that Mass Effect is one of those things that should not only just stay as a video game, I think it shouldn't have gone past number 3. If Andromeda has taught us anything, I don't think that anybody knows how to make Mass Effect anymore. I mean, it's... Some say,
I think there was a reality where Andromeda was actually a pretty dope game, but I think that they cut so many corners along so many venues so deliberately and so shamelessly that it just had to be what it was going to be. So whatever, that's all good. But Hockey Song pointing out again, the Disney owns R-rated films. They turn them into kid-friendly films.
No,
not necessarily.
Not true. Have you ever heard?
They just don't produce them under Disney.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Thank you. Touchstone Pictures, Miramax. Have you ever heard of these companies?
They're Disney.
Those were Disney.
They're Disney.
And they produced think about all your favorite Kevin Smith films, Mallrats, Chasing Amy. Those movies were hard R, produced by Miramax. Miramax is just Disney.
It's Disney. Disney under not Disney. As a guys, Disney is producing R-rated movies for years. They just don't produce them under their Disney label because they have a degree of brand awareness, which I fully support.
It's a facade. They just don't put the... Did you know, for example, they were so worried about what people would say about The Nightmare on Elm Street that was technically produced by Touchstone Pictures. But then years later, once that movie became widely accepted and a huge following, now it just says Disney on the DVD.
It does,
They took the Touchstone label off of it. But I'm telling you, things like Touchstone... Miramax and whatever else they use, they'll just use a fake company to to put that on. It's
right,
fine.
and to reiterate, for those few you might be confused in the comments, Miramax and Touchstone Pictures are production studios. They are not movies.
Yeah.
And I bet you, and as much as you're like, well, I'm confused by that, you have probably seen things by Touchstone and Miramax because they've produced a bunch of really gritty movies. But it's Disney. That's Disney. That is the force. That's Disney money making Disney motion pictures under the guise of a different production studio in order to maintain their brand name. And it's perfect.
Yeah.
That's how you do that. So for anybody who's like, Disney owns Deadpool, it's not going to happen. No, Disney's been making rated R movies for years.
Yeah, like, for
Calm
example,
down.
if
you're fine.
Deadpool 3 will probably be made when it's Disney, but it'll be Touchstone presents Deadpool 2, or Miramax presents Deadpool
Right. Or
3,
some
sorry.
other production company, but it will not be Disney presents Deadpool. But Disney's got the EP. It made money. It was the most successful R-rated comic book movie ever. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's too far along not to happen. And but I don't think you're going to see a Disney label on it. If it is, high five. That's awesome. But you know, they've been doing this for a long time. There's a contingency for it. It'll work out.
Also, keep in mind that all of those Marvel Netflix shows like Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones, those are all pretty rated R and all still produced under Disney at Marvel, you know? So
yeah.
they're not going to... You know, I hate this mentality that
there's a lot of potentially problematic elements of Disney's like growing monolithic proportions here, and there's a ton of issues with kind of what it bodes for the industry. But the idea that less R-rated movies are going to make is just objectively not true.
It's not true, yeah.
Or at least based on evidence.
I mean, yeah, everybody like when Disney was bought, or when Star Wars was bought by Disney, people said the same thing. They were like, "Oh, well, now Disney's gonna, or Star Wars is going to be kidified." It's simply not true. That I hate that kind of mentality.
It's almost like people took to the internet and were like, you know, I always felt that Obi-Wan should have had Mickey Mouse ears, and Luke Skywalker Mickey Mouse ears.
That was my sketch.
And the Stormtroopers Mickey Mouse ears.
Oh, certainly, I fed into that.
I am making fun of Richard in his incredibly cynical and super salty video after Star Wars was acquired by Disney, where he role-played as George Lucas, retconning his entire canon to involve Mickey Mouse ears.
Well, it was making fun of two things. One, that it was bought by Disney, and two, that George Lucas, while he still owned Star Wars, was constantly making changes to the movies.
Yes,
you know?
correct. I mean, George Lucas is his own issue.
Because he's like, I always thought that the Sarlacc pit needed a beak. Rah! You know, like, and he's like, it was like, when that's not in the script.
Why did you think that? What do you think about? Like,
whatever. It's
think
fine.
about something else.
Yeah, Hannah remembers that skit. It was a good time. It was a good time.
EDMG saying a monolithic overgod controlling all pieces of constructed media, so YouTube? I like where your head's at, EDMG7. Coming to you live from YouTube.
You heard it
like
here
your comment.
first.
On YouTube.
All right, we got a couple more minutes. Is anybody else want to get some opinions out there before we wrap it up tonight?
Well, I just liked the beak.
I did
too, actually. We agree, Josh. It was actually a cool addition. It was just, it's so odd. It's so odd and seemingly so arbitrary, where it's like, you see that pit, the spiky pit.
This may come as a shock to some of you, but
we need a beak, like, and tentacles. And
I'm
like, all right, that's a weird thing to think, but I guess I like it better.
Sadly, guys, I am like the most perplexingly ironic person that you'll ever meet. I love making fun of stuff that I love, okay?
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Love the shit on it. It really does.
So, I mean, yeah, I love making fun of George Lucas, but I also respect the hell out of George Lucas, too, you know? And I think a lot of the changes he made in the special editions were actually good changes. You know, like a lot of people complain, they shouldn't have added the whole Wampa in Empire Strikes Back, because blah, blah. No, it was great. We got to see him finally. Shut the fuck up. Hey. That's all.
Let's see. Where are we at? Dick Halen saying season 2 of Jessica Jones was meh. Unfortunately, I partially agree, but season 1 was
I
so
enjoyed
good.
season 2. I know there were a lot of
It
people
was good. It was solid.
The villain was her mom, you know, who she thought was dead. I actually thought that was a really personal and engaging story. I mean, it was not...
It's been visited in comic books many a time before, but
it was not as... Maybe it wasn't quite as engaging as
you know...
the
questions, so don't take forever.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead. 1 sec.
Whatever. Anyways, it wasn't as good as David Tennant in the first season, but it was still good.
So good.
That's all I wanted to say. I really liked season 2. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say season 2 was solid. I liked it better than Meh, but obviously season 1 was so much superior. Is Jax like, no, that is literally what Jax and Holly sound like when they hang out together. That is just the noise that happens. It's just a lot of like that's it. All right. Okay. Crazy Hannah Creations pointing out that Kingdom Hearts turned 16 this year. Wowee, but you're right.
And where's the third game? I have nothing to throw. There's nothing to throw.
On one hand, I'm like, yay, and on the other hand, I'm like, wow, what a weird state of like affairs the current franchise is in. But it has had a lot of games, so that's cool. I think Stupid Mario always needed Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts, unfortunately for me, is kind of like the Hellraiser of video games. And you're like, wait, what? How did you get? Because Hellraiser.
That's a jump, Richard.
Because Hellraiser released like 10 straight to DVD sequels that were no good.
That's right.
And that's what I feel about a lot of those Kingdom Hearts spin-offs. Is just, where's Kingdom Hearts 3? You know, yeah, I've already talked to death about Square in so many other episodes. I don't want to do it anymore. Please make it go away.
Resist. Last question. Decayland is asking, or no, sorry, Hockey Song is asking, do you think 20th Century Fox should stay as a distributor? If
Absolutely not. No. Fuck them all. Get rid of them.
That was rather definitive. Okay, cool.
I hate 20th Century Fox so
I know.
much. So much. That's deep roots right there. You remember... Hey, deep cuts, everyone. Remember Rich Vlog? About 5 years ago, remember Rich Vlog? Every episode was shitting on 20th Century Fox.
Here's what I think. The entertainment industry in general needs a big shakeup. We have way too much incumbency, and incumbency doesn't breed innovation. If we let all the old players to continue to have their old power, Disney is unfortunately kind of included in this, though to a lesser extent because I feel like Disney is committed to innovation in a way that a lot of other distributors aren't, but they are still not exempt from this opinion.
Ignore them.
So much of the industry does not benefit from a huge level of incumbency, and a lot of these companies are monolithic and have been around forever and have been doing doing things the same way forever. I think an infusion of new talent, a breakup of kind of the way the status quo has been and whatnot will really infuse some new life. We're going to get, in that hypothetical, you'd get some really weird movies out of the fringe, but it's the only way that we're going to see something truly different. So, in that sense, that is a part of that larger picture answer, I would say, no, I would say 20th Century Fox should not remain as a distributor.
No, I think that they need to go the way of MGM and just completely dissolve.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So,
the MGM name actually kind of gets thrown around here and there because I believe Warner Brothers owns the MGM title.
It's still a powerful brand.
It does not at all have it was once one of the most powerful movie studios in Hollywood, and now it is name only. Sometimes,
Right.
They really fudged it with that one. Anyways, hey, if you'd like to know the history of Hollywood, I'll probably never do it.
That's a freaking shit show, and we're not touching it. Have a good night, folks. But on that note, we are actually leaving. We have a hot sauce thing to show. Please, two things. One, like and comment on this video, I guess, because that's a thing. But really, we've put a ton of effort into No Pain, No Game. And we would love you guys to stick around for its debut on Saturday. We think it's a good thing. The first episode is great. The second episode is even better. And we're about to film the third episode, and we're feeling pretty good about it. I've got some absolutely... I actually have chemical burns on my hands from handling the hot sauce from this show. So if you're wondering what the stakes are, that's the thing. I have burns on my skin. Anyway, Saturday, we're seeing that drop. We have another sketch coming out tomorrow.
Yes, also a new sketch. I'm busy editing things all week.
Yeah, if you're wondering where we've been working.
Tomorrow, you'll see a brand new sketch, a new Rich Alver Shorts, as they're called. They're called Rich Alver Shorts. A new sketch to complement last week's bad guy, Garrett. He's such a bad guy.
I'm such a bad guy.
Such a bad guy.
I'm pleased to see that one was well received, so I thank you guys for that. It's another short one, so just keep that in mind. We released all the short ones kind of up front, and they're going to start getting longer.
If you enjoy the acting of Julian Petrozelli, he's in tomorrow's
video.
video.
We got some Julian in tomorrow's sketch. I forgot. God, is it hard to get a hold of that guy.
Yeah. So Julian's in tomorrow's video. Keep an eye out around 11 a.m. tomorrow for the new Rich Alver Short. Then 11 a.m. on Saturday will be the new
No Pain, No
No
Gain.
Pain, No Game. And
That
then
was the word
11
I was
a.m.
looking for.
on Sunday, the new Alvarec, the first Alvarec in about 9 months.
Yes! What a busy weekend! Again, if you're wondering where we've been this week.
Yeah, we're trying to fill up. And then Thursday, the next video, I think, will be Thursday at 11 a.m., the new Star Wars Rebels Abridged on the Star Wars Network. And, we're just going to keep that train rolling, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Boom!
Every
Boom!
day.
It's a good time to be a Rich Alvarez fan! Or working for Rich Alvarez.
I would say working with Rich Alvarez.
I know. Well, it depends on the channel.
Actually, I don't pay anybody, by the way. Nobody works for me. Nobody works
If
for
anything,
me.
I pay you.
Nobody works for me. They work with me.
Right.
That's it.
You're the director. I'm the producer. It's great.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching Video Game Talk. This has been a fun and frustrating episode at the same time.
Right.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Subscribe to Star Wars Network. Subscribe to Rich Alvarez. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, too. We have Facebooks for all this crap as well.
Yeah, and Discord, although I'm thinking every single person in chat right now is on Discord. But if you don't have the Discord link, hit your boy up. I'll get it to you.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you go ahead and hit stop streaming?
I'm going to go ahead and hit stop
Bye, guys.
streaming. Bye, guys.